It's a little bit deep, but it's just because I'm coming off of a little under the weather feeling. But I just want to thank y'all all for making it here tonight. I know that some of y'all might have been, against y'all's will, but I'm happy that y'all are here. If you can go ahead and sit down, cool. So the title for today is going to be So Will I. And if I can get the verse Isaiah 6:8 up. See, this verse actually has a lot to do with how I felt getting ready for this sermon. And it's right there. And if y'all can follow along, it says Isaiah 6:8. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me." See, this verse has a lot to do with answering the calling that God gives you. And, I wouldn't have been able to do this if it wasn't for me being versed and just being, just having a relationship with God. Because you never know whenever you're going to get caught up. Like, for instance, whenever I got caught up to take this or to give the sermon, it was Sunday. So Mindy knows that it caught me off guard. I had to read it like once or twice just to make sure that I read it right. Because the last time I preached, she gave me a whole month. And, it was good because I was able to, pivot around the same ideas, actually refine what I wanted to say. But it wasn't as hard this time because of this verse. And I really want to talk to you about, I know a lot of y'all may know, the World Cup is coming to town. And the World Cup is coming to town next week. And camp is y'all are also going to be going to camp. So these are all perfect, examples and perfect opportunities to be able to go out there and talk about God. Because the World Cup, there's a lot of people that are going to be coming around, from different parts of the world. It's the World Cup. And a lot of people may not know about God, and a lot of people do, but they have a misconception about Him. And since y'all know about God, y'all have been coming to church, I know at least a lot of y'all, that, y'all know, the true beauty of, being in a relationship with God. And I really want to urge y'all to be able to go out there, step out of y'all's comfort zone, and be able to talk to people about God, and just tell them how much He's done for you. You don't have to give them a whole, live example. Just share your testimony. Share what He's done in your life. And trust me, when you're genuine about things, people realize that. People can see right through the lies. And that's whenever, you start backpedaling. But the thing that I really, the verse that I really like saying in my head is Matthew 11:15, which is, whoever has ears, let them hear. See, whoever has ears, let them hear. Because, you can be talking and it'll just be people's head. It'll some people might not receive it the right way, but whoever is really interested in learning is going to hit close to home. Because a lot of people have been either in church, have heard about have heard about the good news, or have, at least some knowledge of what being Christian is. And, as I was getting ready for this lesson, there's a lot of feelings that I had. I had the feelings of being nervous, of being scared, and I thought back to whenever I felt the calling to be able to go out and talk to people about God. At first, it was hard because I didn't know a lot about verses to answer the questions that they had about, what I was asking. I remember that there was a lot of people that would ask me, well, I've been living a good life. Why do I need God for? And, at the time, I was caught off guard because my whole life I grew up in church. So I knew that without God, we can't get our goals. But a lot of people already had their goals without God. And it really created an internal conflict. Because, how come they have their goals and I don't? How come they reach their end, the finish line, whenever I'm not even close to it? And as I was doing more reading, I discovered that to have a solid foundation, you need to have, to have a solid relationship with God and a solid life, you have to have a solid foundation. And whenever you build your foundation on God, that's really where, your success comes from. And I don't know if a lot of people know about 2819 Church with Philip Anthony Mitchell. Well, had heard about Matthew 28:19 for a while now, but I never really understood it until I watched one of his sermons. And if I can get Matthew 28:19 up, please.
Yeah, I can actually hear what I'm saying.
Cool. It says, "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit."
We did all right.
And then the following verse is, "And teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." You see,
I was trying to go.
it's very different just talking about God and knowing that you're following his commandments by talking about God. Because as you can see up on the board, Matthew 28:19 is deeper than what it says. Because whenever you actually have a relationship with God, you really want to share your news. Like, you really want to share how much he's impacted you.
I was trying to do that.
And whenever you get involved in church as well, you start realizing that, there's a lot of changes that happen. You see it in people. You see that people either change for the better or change for the worse. And I've had the privilege of seeing both sides of that. Because a lot of people that I knew that came to church didn't stay in church. But I've actually noticed that the people that do stay get closer to God. And they're helping out. They become leaders. They become, crucial parts of the church. And that's what I want to talk to you about. Just being able to get involved in church and surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded will be able to get you a long way in this life. But it's up to you to choose it. Because God is not going to come in, he's not going to tell you, hey, do this, do that, or I won't bless you. He's going to give you free will. And, whenever you pray according to God's will and trust him, and trust in his faithful ways, everything is always going to work out as long as it's in his timing and part of his will. Because at the end of the day, it's his will and not ours. And you might be praying for something, and you might not get what you're praying for. But at the end of the day, there is always a plan to it. And I know that maybe, or like what I said, maybe not now or in a week, but when you least expect it, you're going to be where you prayed to